Do you feel like you're getting clear answers to your real estate questions? Do you have a complete understanding of the Las Vegas Valley and all its communities? If you're moving here and you're honest with yourself, I bet the answer to both is a no. To fix that, this video will be carrying Summerlin and North Las Vegas, learning more about both, and hopefully clearing up the question, which community is better for you? There's really no difference in climate between Summerlin and North Las Vegas. Now, there are some people that would tell you that Summerlin's slightly higher elevation makes it cooler in the summer, but I haven't experienced that at all. The only difference I've noticed after 6 years of living in Vegas is that Summerlin does appear to get more rain than North Las Vegas, so neither community really wins in this category. Now, there is one reason Summerlin might get more rain, is that the location. Summerlin is the western edge of the Las Vegas Valley, touching Red Rock National Conservation Area and the Spring Mountains. North Las Vegas, on the other hand, exists as the northeast boundary of the valley, next to Nellis Air Force Base and just south of the Desert National Wildlife Refuge. Now, both communities are outer rim, and this gives them the distinct ability to serve as a quiet oasis for homeowners if that's something you'd like. Now, from Craig Ranch Regional Park, which is about the center of North Las Vegas, to the airport is 24 minutes, to Henderson is 30, the Strip is 19, and Mount Charleston is 39. From downtown Summerlin, the airport is 21 minutes, Henderson is 30, the Strip is 22, and Mount Charleston is about 40. Now, I guarantee these times will change depending on traffic. But since they're both quiet communities, outer rim communities, and drive times are similar, they kind of tie in a location category as well. Now, before we go any further, please drop down below and just let me know what side of the city you would rather live on in the comment section. Now, ignoring any differences in price, which we will talk about later, don't worry, both communities have several new home developments under construction, and in fact, Summerlin is not actually completed as intended, and construction is going to increase probably for several years, especially on West Summerlin. If you'd like to look at any of the new homes in either community, the best website to check out is newhomesource.com, and I'll link that down in the description. Now, there are plenty of resale homes available in both communities as well, and both communities have 55 plus neighborhoods for those of you who are retiring here. The key difference between Summerlin and Las Vegas homes lies in the luxury communities that Summerlin offers. And when I say luxury homes, luxury communities, I am referring to homes that cost more than $1 million. North Las Vegas has maybe one of these communities, maybe. So if you're looking for a luxury home or a luxury community, Summerlin is not only going to be your only choice in this category, but it's definitely going to win. What you will find in North Las Vegas are similar amenities to Summerlin. Not identical, but similar. People who really love Summerlin are probably going to get mad at me for saying this, but I'm going to do it anyway. Summerlin is kind of lying to you about the number of parks it has. Now, Summerlin website says there are over 200 parks, but if you really read the fine print, you'll notice that over 150 of those are just neighborhood and village specific. You can kind of think of a village as a collection of neighborhoods, a collection of little plots of land with houses of similar design, similar price, similar size, that sort of thing. Now, where I grew up thinking of a park as like a really large outdoor green space, a lot of open stuff, you know, park equipment and that sort of thing. So if that's what you think of as a park, then maybe Summerlin is lying to you. But in your mind, if a park is just kind of any green space that's not assigned to a specific property owner, then maybe Summerlin's not lying. It's really up to you guys to decide for yourself. Either way, North Las Vegas does offer a ton of large and small parks just like Summerlin. However, what North Las Vegas doesn't really have are the maintained trails of Summerlin and access to Red Rock. Caveat to this is that Summerlin trails are over 90% sidewalks, which are just wider areas. They call them trails. They're wider. They have landscaping on both sides, and they still run next to the roads. Unfortunately, none of the trails in the Las Vegas Valley, whether they're in Summerlin or North Las Vegas, are really going to do you much good when it's 110 degrees outside. There are very few secluded, shaded paths, that sort of thing. That being said, though, Summerlin is a master plan community, so there's a lot of thought behind the trails connecting the villages, connecting the neighborhoods. You're not going to find that level of thought in North Las Vegas. The trails do connect different communities, but again, they're just kind of like normal sidewalks in North Las Vegas, whereas in Summerlin, they really put that extra effort in. So it's up to you to decide whether that is a trail or not, or whether Summerlin or not Las Vegas kind of win in this category. But before we move on, I just wanted to say a few more things. There are plans to connect several of the trails in Summerlin directly to the trails in Red Rock. So I think that's pretty cool, especially if you're outdoorsy. And keep in mind, there are additional amenities that you might consider in Summerlin and North Las Vegas, but whether you're gonna be using them or not, you will be paying for these amenities one way or another. And we're gonna kind of talk about that more, or you'll see it more when we get to talk about home prices. So if you're surprised to learn about Summerlin's so-called parks and trails, or you're enjoying the video, please take a moment and go down below, press that like button, subscribe button. It really helps me out and it helps me reach more people just like you who are looking to move here to Las Vegas. So let's now talk about the cost of living, and here's where the differences become real obvious. The cost of living in North Las Vegas is vastly different than the cost of living in Summerlin. A quick search on Zillow for 3-bed, 2-bath homes will show you just how different prices are. And in fact, when I did a search for writing this video, only one 3-2 home appeared in Summerlin for less than $375, and it was 975 square feet. I mean, who wants to live in 975 square feet for almost $400,000? That's ridiculous. And the same thing happened for 4-bed, 2-bath homes under $475,000 when I looked. But for both of these prices, there are a ton of options in North Las Vegas. 5 years ago, when I bought my first home in North Las Vegas, a friend of mine named Justin purchased a similar home in Summerlin. He paid about $140,000 more for his home than I paid for mine, all because his home was in Summerlin. So if you're looking to spend well over the average on a home, Summerlin has multiple luxury communities where home prices vastly exceed $1 million. And besides home costs, there are plenty of empirical evidence that Summerlin is a more expensive place to live. For example, there is no Walmart in Summerlin, but there are a Whole Foods, Sprouts, Pottery Barn, P.F. Chang's, and the most luxurious Target I've ever seen, and that's just to name a few. There are also some seriously gorgeous shopping centers downtown Summerlin, Boca Park, Tivoli Village, filled with many luxury shops, most of which I had never heard of or seen until I was here in person. And there's also 10 golf courses in Summerlin, several of which you can actually live on. So if you're looking for that luxury, then Summerlin is definitely going to win. But if you're looking for a more budget-friendly area that is still a great area to live, then I would definitely choose North Las Vegas. Now, speaking of luxury, here's another area that Summerlin exceeds in. There are vastly more places to eat, shop, and get entertained in Summerlin than there are in North Las Vegas. For instance, the Las Vegas Ballpark, home of the Aviators, the Golden Knights practice facility, Red Rock, downtown Summerlin, Boca Park, and Tivoli Village. And it seems like every single time my wife and I find a new restaurant, it's usually in Summerlin or it's usually in Henderson. And I've also heard that homeowners associations in Summerlin are much more active in planning community events. So if you're someone who needs easy access to the best shopping and restaurants in the city, actually in the valley, I'd definitely say Summerlin takes the cake here. Now let's talk about which community is safer. But before we do, please go down below, pause the video, and let me know what you've heard about North Las Vegas in the comments section, because I bet you've heard some pretty bad shit. Next, let me remind you that Summerlin is actually a part of Las Vegas, while North Las Vegas is its own city. So stats specific to Summerlin are a little harder to come by. Second, my family and I have lived in North Las Vegas for 6 years now. We've never been victims of a crime, never seen a crime committed, nothing like that. So with that out of the way, let's talk about numbers. According to bestplaces.net, bestplaces.net has shit stats, so I'm remaking this part of the video. According to the FBI statistics, which aren't complete shit, Las Vegas, where Summerlin is located, and North Las Vegas are not, in fact, crime-ridden wastelands. When ranked by the number of violent crimes committed per capita, Las Vegas is 41st, and North Las Vegas is 78th out of the top 100 most populous U.S. cities. When ranked by property crimes per capita, Las Vegas is 33rd, and North Las Vegas is 21st. For reference, Henderson, Nevada, which is just south of the valley, which is praised for how consistently safe it is ranked 12th in property crimes, 12th in violent crimes, and 10th in property crimes. Now, I don't personally recommend that you look at the data because it can be a little confusing, and it's just data doesn't tell the whole story. But plus, I do have another recommendation for you. But I will link the data down below should any of you want to check it out for yourself. But stay tuned for that next recommendation about gauging safety in a particular neighborhood. Summerlin may seem like a more affluent area of the city, but if you do a quick search on crimegrade.org or Google, you'll find that plenty of violent crimes are committed there as well. But after living here for 6 years, here's my advice for what it's worth. If you're going to live in North Las Vegas and you can afford it, don't live south of Craig Road. Below Craig Road, the city of North Las Vegas becomes much older and much more industrial, much more urban. Crimes are committed there more often, and it's closer to the city center. So if you follow that advice, hopefully you'll live here for many years like I have without any problems. Additionally, when you're considering any community, whether it's Summerlin or North Las Vegas, make sure you drive through it multiple times before purchasing that home. Choose several times a day over a several day period. Observe the area. If you're comfortable with what you see and what you hear, then maybe you'll be happy there. But always trust your instincts. Keep your guard up, even in Summerlin neighborhoods. Because I don't have numbers specifically for Summerlin, I can't declare either a clear winner here, so you're going to have to decide this for yourself. Now, love them or hate them, tourists are the backbone of the Las Vegas economy. If you love tourists, then Summerlin will probably win for you, but if you hate tourists, then consider North Las Vegas. North Las Vegas has few, if any, attractions outside of Las Vegas Motor Speedway, and that's actually not even in North Las Vegas. But they do hold several NASCAR events there, the EDC, Electric Daisy Carnival, every year, and this can or will negatively affect traffic for a few days. But since there's only one freeway running through I-15, the traffic's really not that bad, and it's only bad during a couple peak times during those events. Otherwise, during normal days of the year, there's really not much traffic in North Las Vegas at all. Summerlin, on the other hand, attracts hundreds of thousands, maybe more tourists every single year for shopping, restaurants, dining, entertainment, that sort of thing. And it also has two large freeways running through it, I-215 and the Summerlin Parkway. So if you add all those tourists together that come for Summerlin, plus all the tourists that come for Red Rock, you're definitely looking at millions of tourists driving through Summerlin every single year. Of course, this is going to add plenty of traffic to Summerlin roads, so keep that in mind as to which one you think wins. Now, last but not least, talk about schools. Now, Summerlin hands down wins here. There's no competition. Unfortunately, according to niche.com, greatschools.org, and a lot of locals you talk to, North Las Vegas has some of the worst schools in the valley, maybe some of the worst schools in the entire state. Summerlin, on the other hand, has some of the best, and this is exactly what I observe living here as well. Most parents seem to want to send their kids to schools in Summerlin, Henderson, or private schools. There really isn't much more to say about it, really, unfortunately. If you're a parent who wants to send their child to the best ranked schools in the valley, possibly the state, Summerlin is going to win, Henderson's going to win, North Las Vegas is just really not even a competitor in this category. Now, if you're still watching, I hope that means you got some value from this video. Don't forget, please go down below, like and subscribe before clicking on the next video on the screen, which you should definitely watch next because that's what I recommend. Thanks so much for visiting my channel. If you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. Remember that my team and I can definitely help you buy or sell a home in Las Vegas if that's what you're looking for. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll see you next time.